In today's video, I'm going to show you the exact strategies we're running in one of our Google Ads accounts where we're getting above a 700% return on ad spend. If you're new to the channel, my name is Daryl and I run a Google Ads agency called Big Flare. On this channel, I share actionable Google Ads growth strategies to help you grow your business. So today I'll give you a look in one of our client accounts, anonymized for client privacy of course, and you'll see the real tactics used by the pros like us that help achieve a 700% return on ad spend at six-figure monthly ad spends. Stay tuned for a campaign structure breakdown, performance max strategies, asset group strategies, and a whole lot more. All right, let's dive in. All right, guys, so here we are in Google Ads and we're in my client account. We're looking at the past 30 days. Here's the lovely above 700% ROAS we're getting. Currently spending 200,000 New Zealand dollars. So this client was originally from New Zealand, but they've now expanded and we're actually advertising across the English-speaking world in America, UK, New Zealand, Australia, Canada. So it's a multinational campaign. These numbers are New Zealand dollars. To convert that into US dollars, it's 58, so it's about 60%, so just a bit more than half. So 200,000 New Zealand dollars, it's just a bit over 100,000 US dollars. And what I wanted to show you first, I've got some notes here, so I make sure to show you the right things. I wanted to just do a campaign type breakdown with you guys. So if we look at the campaign types and you're wondering, okay, at this kind of level of e-commerce Google Ads, where should you be investing your money? I'll show you where we're investing our money. And we're actually just going across all the major campaign types. So you can see we've got 59K of search activity there, total account spending 200K, getting a 7x ROAS, and then search, display, shopping, video, a little bit of demand gen, and some performance max. We've got it all going on. So let's just break down one by one the different campaign types are in here and the sort of level of investment and ROAS you can expect. Now for e-commerce, performance max and or shopping is going to be the workhorse of your account. And you can see that here, we're investing most of the money into performance max, more than half goes into performance max, and then a little bit into standard shopping as well. Now performance max is primarily shopping ads, the way we run it. And then there's a bit of shopping on top of that as well. And I'm going to dive in later how we break out performance max versus standard shopping. We actually use both of them in this particular client account. And what you can see here is that for our 7x ROAS, actually performance max and shopping get a little bit lower than our overall account ROAS. And that's because search, with a 59K, 60K investment out of the overall 200K, that gets a much higher return on ad spend, 8.74. And this is something you should be looking for, guys. Like I see a lot of accounts when I audit accounts being run by, say, a small business e-commerce founder. I tend to find that they're just running either standard shopping and performance max, maybe a branded search, and then they've got no non-branded search going on. And one of the big things I recommend is you build out your non-branded search campaigns and you use the data you've already got in your PMax and standard shopping campaigns. And when you build it out properly, you should be able to see something like this. You know, normally not quite 50%, but it's just under 50% of your overall account spend and revenue can come from search and search non-brand campaigns. And if you're not building those campaigns out, you could be missing out on a chunk of revenue. And when you do it well, this is the other thing I wanted to show you, when you do it well, search should be running at a return on ad spend that's actually higher than your performance max and your standard shopping campaigns. Like in all our accounts where we're running search on brands for e-commerce, we're seeing this kind of same thing where we're getting a higher overall return on ad spend, lower spend than performance max and shopping, but higher return on ad spend. So really, really well profitable. And that just comes from building out search on brands properly. So the main campaign types are performance max, shopping, search, and you can expect decent ROAS in all of them, and with a slightly higher ROAS in search when you're running it effectively. And then we've also got display. Now display runs at just under 700% return on ad spend, and it's got a much lower ad spend as well. And with display, we're really just doing retargeting. So I don't super recommend cold traffic display for a lot of e-commerce advertisers. It's really tricky to get to work, and for a lot of businesses, it just won't work. It's really dependent on your product and whether that's kind of suitable for display ads. And display ads is just kind of one of the like later cold traffic display ads. There's like so many other better sources of traffic you can go to before you get there. Like probably Facebook is better, YouTube is better, Google search and shopping is better. So like Google Display Network for cold traffic is kind of lower on the priority list. And display network, I would probably just be prioritizing retargeting there, guys. And then we've also got some video, and with video we are spending a little bit more than in our display campaigns. ROAS is lower, and that's to be expected with video, and video we're actually doing a blend of retargeting and a bit of cold traffic too, and I'll break that down for you a bit later on in this video as we go into each individual campaign type. So that covers the general campaign breakdown. Oh yeah, we've got a tiny bit of demand gen going on as well. So we're just kind of testing the waters here. Demand gen is worth a test if you've got good creative, and you can see we've actually only just started testing it in this particular account, so not many results there yet to speak of. But let's dive into Performance Max and Standard Shopping. Okay, so over here I have filtered out my Performance Max and Standard Shopping campaigns. I kind of see them as just sort of one unit working together. I'm also filtering for USA. So what we do is we break out the same campaign set and duplicate it across the countries that we're running. So I'm just going to focus on USA so you don't see the sort of duplicated campaigns across the other countries that we're targeting. And with Performance Max and Shopping, here's the breakdown. We have one core Performance Max campaign, and we actually have all the products in there. So I have to blur out the campaign names for client privacy, but to give you an idea what's going on in here, we have a core Performance Max campaign. And we've got about 160 products in there. Every product is profitable. Now, under different circumstances, I might actually recommend a different setup. However, if we look in here and let's go in our core Performance Max campaign, let's go over to our products. Let's just use a slightly longer date range, like 90 days. So if you don't have a huge product list, and if you're running your Performance Max or Standard Shopping ads and you don't see, and your ROASs are quite high, they're healthy and above, way above your break-even point, and you don't see any products sort of dropping below your break-even point, then in those circumstances, it's okay to just run most or all of your products in one campaign and like just have that as your core campaign. Now, if you've got loads of different product categories or you've got different variable gross profit margins, you might need a different campaign structure. This is a simple campaign structure because the client has only a handful of products and a few different product categories. Now, they've got a bunch of products, but just a few different product categories. So what we see in here when we look and we rank by cost, and we've got all the products over here, and we're looking at the past 90 days, is what you'll notice is that all the products are 7x ROAS, 8x ROAS, 12 ROAS. What you don't see, okay, this one is close to the line, but what you generally won't see is something that spends a decent amount, like above $500, and gets a low ROAS. If you do see that, if you go into your Performance Max campaign and you are seeing, like, you rank by cost, have a nice long date range, and you see a bunch of products that are spending a decent amount, enough money that this data is statistically significant, and yet their ROAS is really low and it's below your break-even point, that would be the time to start thinking about a ROAS performance-based account structure. And what I mean by that is you would take out those lower performing those lower ROAS products and put them into their own campaign with their own dedicated target ROAS. That forces the system to bid a bit lower and get their ROAS up. Now, in this case, that kind of structure is not needed, and we're able to run one core Performance Max campaign for all our products. And then if we look at the other campaigns we have going on, we've got the core Performance Max campaign, and then this one here is a Performance Max new customers campaign. So we break out a separate duplicate version of the campaign, and then in the duplicated version, we switch on new customer bidding only. And we do that in a separate campaign because if you keep it in the same campaign, Google forces you to add sort of fake conversion value into your reporting, and it kind of messes up the numbers and reporting. So you don't want to do that. I usually recommend, if you're going to target new customers, if new customers are highly valuable to you and you know that they are X% more valuable to you than returning customers, then it's worthwhile to break out a new customers campaign, switch on new customer bidding there. What you'll also notice in this campaign is we typically run it at a slightly lower return on ad spend. So that's the core campaign there, getting about a 726% return on ad spend. And then the new customer campaign gets under 700%. We actually target it around 600%. We target it a bit lower. And that is to make the system bid a bit higher and get us more new customers. We're willing to take a hit on ROAS because we know new customers are significantly more valuable to us and that they have a strong LTV for new customers. So that's a thing you can do with your campaign structure. If you break out new customers, you can aim it at a lower ROAS target, which kind of forces the system to bid higher and get you more traffic for that customer type. This campaign here is our best performers. So we break out our very, very best performing high ROAS, high margin products, and we put them into their own standard shopping campaign. And the reason we do that is we break them out into their own campaign so that we can give it its own budget and ROAS target, and we can encourage the system to spend more on our best performers through a higher budget and a lower return on ad spend target. And we also make sure that this is in standard shopping so that we know that budget is being spent specifically on shopping ads for our best performers, which are going to be usually the best performing ad type within Google Ads. Shopping and Performance Max, it's going to be the best performing in terms of like the overall balance between volume and return on ad spend. And then finally, we've got this final Performance Max campaign, and I would call this a special category campaign. So this was actually a newer product line that the client released, and we wanted to break it out into its own campaign again so that we can get the system to push it more. It's a new product, slightly different margin, and we want the system pushing this product a bit more. It was like really important for strategic reasons on the client end to be pushing more spend to this product, and you can achieve that by breaking it out into its own campaign and then managing the budget and target ROAS on its own, separate to the other products. That's how you can sort of push individual products or categories within Google Ads, break them out to their own campaign, give them their own target. Now within Performance Max, I did want to look at the asset group strategy very briefly because I know a lot of you guys have questions around asset group strategy for Performance Max. So let's just have a look at what's going on in our asset groups over here. And what I wanted to show you here is that we're using a simple to understand structure of just having one asset group per product category. So each product category is broken out into its own asset group, and that allows you to add assets that are specific to that product category. And then we are adding assets. We are adding plenty of headlines, descriptions, videos, and images. We also are using signals and search themes. So we've got all of that going on. And then instead of feed only, like some people like to run feed only campaigns, I would just normally, instead of feed only, just go straight to standard shopping. And that's why we're using that on our best performers. For adding assets and signals in Performance Max, it performs well as long as you manage your budgets and target ROAS effectively. If you're running a really low target ROAS that's very close to your break-even point, then there's a stronger case for maybe doing feed only and or standard shopping. But if you are running a target ROAS that's way above your break-even point, like in this case, we're aiming for a target ROAS of 700%, break-even at about 200%, there's a lot of room there. And because we're aiming at a comfortably high target return on ad spend, we're not really at risk of the system going off and wasting a bunch of money on sort of cold traffic display or cold traffic YouTube. If you look at the spend breakdown in these campaigns, they are very focused on shopping and a bit of search within Performance Max, which is kind of what we want, and that's why we run it at a fairly high target return on ad spend. So yeah, full audience signals, plenty of images, videos, headlines, and descriptions. And then what we're also doing is regularly rotating images, videos, headlines, descriptions, so that all our assets are at least good, if not best. What do I mean by that? What you want to be doing is coming into your assets report. And if you look at the performance column over here, you'll notice that most of them are best, good, best, good, best, good, best. We've got one that's on low. What we do is we regularly review this report. If you see anything that's a low, just swap it out. Swap it out for something that you think can perform better. And when you're trying to find something that can perform better, learn from the data that you have in your Google Ads account. So look at what was already working and try and kind of replicate that or riff off of that so that eventually you end up with just all good or best assets within Performance Max. So that's super helpful for making sure your assets perform really well. All right, let's have a look at what's going on with search. Now with search, what I highly recommend you do is you do a brand versus non-brand segmentation. Kind of basic stuff, but you'd be surprised how many people get this wrong. You want a dedicated brand campaign, which we have over here, and then all the other ones here are our non-branded campaigns. And what we've got going on in our non-branded campaigns, and oh yeah, I wanted to say here again, get non-brand working. I see a lot of e-commerce Google Ads advertisers who are just relying on either Performance Max and shopping and a bit of branded search, and they've never got non-branded search working. There's a lot of money left on the table if you're in that situation. So let's talk a little bit about how to get non-branded search working. With your branded campaign, by the way, what I would normally do is aim it at a target ROAS of 1000%. You generally want to see a really high return on ad spend on your brand. And as long as you're achieving that high return on ad spend, you generally just want to aim for an impression share above 95%. Brands just kind of generally gets a strong return on ad spend, so usually the goal is just to show up all the time. So those are the benchmarks I look for in a branded campaign. In terms of non-branded campaigns though, we've broken it out a little bit like this. This is a very typical structure for us with our e-commerce clients. So we have a product campaign over here. And you can see it's getting a 639% return on ad spend overall, spending about 10K per month, 234 conversions. And in our product campaign, so this is our main non-branded campaign. So we have one sort of core non-branded search campaign, which most of the keywords go into. Now, if you've got like thousands of products or you've got dozens of product categories, you might want to break this out a bit more by product category. But in this case, we don't have that many product categories, so it kind of makes sense just to group it all into one big non-branded search campaign, which we call the product campaign. And for the initial build, what you want to do is actually use your existing Performance Max and shopping ads data if you have it. So what do I mean? Let's go back to the Performance Max tab. Let's dive into Performance Max. Let's look in Insights and Reports. Let's go Insights. So go into your Performance Max or standard shopping campaign and look at your data insights and look for your search terms. So you want to come down here to your search term insight, and what you can do is click View Detailed Report. You can change the date range. You can download this report into a spreadsheet for easier filtering. You can rank by conversions so that all the keywords that are converting rise to the top. This is where you start your research for non-branded search text ad campaigns. So start here, because if you're running PMax and or standard shopping, you've already spent money, and you've already spent that money to prove certain keywords can work for you in shopping. And it stands to reason that if those keywords work for you in shopping, usually they work for you in search as well. So that's generally where you want to start your non-branded search campaign efforts. So use this report, use it as the starting place for your non-branded search campaign. Your search product campaign is what I usually call it. And then don't just start with that though. You can then further expand your keyword list using keyword research in Google Keyword Planner. So Google has a free keyword research tool over here under Keyword Planner. I'm not going to give you a full walkthrough of how to use this tool. Check out my channel if you want a video dedicated specifically to Keyword Planner. I've got a video on that. But expand your search non-brand keyword list. Start with Performance Max and shopping search terms, then expand it by using Keyword Planner to see what related keywords there are, and then pop that into a non-branded search campaign, and then start initially with just phrase and exact. So what we've done here is we've put phrase and exact into a dedicated campaign on its own. And then we launched broad later in a separate campaign so that we could control the budget. So if you're just starting out with search non-brand, I do recommend you do phrase and exact only. And then later, when phrase and exact is really, really humming and you're getting a good ROAS and now you're looking for more scale, that's when you can start to test broad match. And these days, broad match works pretty darn well actually. So here's our broad match campaign here. And if we go over there, if you look at the ROAS, it's actually getting a slightly higher return on ad spend than our phrase and exact campaign. So it's performing, right? It's a bit riskier and it tends to perform a bit lower at the beginning. But once you've got plenty of data and once you've already maxed out on phrase and exact match, broad match is a good place to go next. So I do recommend doing that for your search non-brand campaign. And then we've got a couple of other non-brand campaigns going on here. We've got a competitors campaign and we've got a couple of dynamic search ads campaigns. So let me just explain to you a little bit about what's going on there. So in the competitors campaign, we're really just targeting direct competitors only. You only want to target people, your competitors who sell exactly what you sell. And you can target their keywords. You're not allowed to put their brand term in your actual ad copy, but you can target their brand term keywords. And when you run that effectively in a search non-brand overall strategy, it can work pretty well. You can get a decent return on ad spend, you can get profitable return on ad spends out of it. Just the one thing to note is that because it's your competitor branded terms, you will get a low quality score in your competitor's campaign, and there's nothing you can really do about that because you get a low quality score because you don't have those exact keywords in your ad copy. You're not really allowed to put it in your ad copy, and you probably won't have those keywords on your landing page as well. So expect a low quality score, and what that means is that you'll get fairly low volume. It won't spend big, but it should spend at a decent return on ad spend if you know how to manage your bid strategies. And then finally, for our search non-brand strategy and our overall search strategy, we have our dynamic search ads campaigns. And what we do with dynamic search ads is break it out into its own campaign. So don't keep it in the same campaign as your search product or your search competitors. You really want it in its own campaign because really I see dynamic search ads as having its own specific goal. And the goal with dynamic search ads is really just to use it as a discovery tool for your overall search strategy. So I don't necessarily expect dynamic search ads to run at a very high return on ad spend. I would expect it to run at a low budget, and then you can use target ROAS or maybe a maximized conversion value bid strategy. It's really up to you. If you get decent conversion volume, like 30 to 50 conversions per month, you can run target ROAS. Otherwise, use maximized conversion value and just keep it at a low daily budget because you don't want the spend in dynamic search ads to run away. Most of the spend should be going into brand, product, and competitors. But what dynamic search ads does really well is helps you discover more search terms for adding into your wider search strategy. So when I say use it as a discovery campaign, what I mean is kind of similar to what you do with your Performance Max and standard shopping search term data, is you want to regularly come into the dynamic search ads campaign, go over to your insights, look at the search terms, and what dynamic search ads can do is it can discover new search terms that you perhaps hadn't thought of or hadn't really thought about when you were doing your keyword research. Those search terms will start coming up in here in your search terms list, and what you want to do at regular intervals is go through this list and find the stuff that converts, find the stuff that looks relevant and gets good performance in dynamic search ads. When you find it there, what you can do is add it as a negative keyword into dynamic search ads campaign, and then add it as a positive keyword into the right ad group in your search product campaign, your search competitors campaign, or your search brand campaign, whichever one is the most relevant campaign for that particular keyword. Hopefully you'll already have an ad group that's relevant to add that keyword into. If not, you can set up a new ad group to house that keyword. And yeah, just use dynamic search ads for this, for the search term report. You can get similar search term report out of Performance Max, but by breaking out a dynamic search ads campaign, you get a better report. Like this report that you get on search terms data is just much more detailed and easy to use than the one in Performance Max. And by breaking out dynamic search ads, instead of letting Performance Max just do that all for you, you're able to control the specific budget that goes into dynamic search ads. And as I say, you want it to be a relatively low budget because this is kind of a discovery campaign. It's not really a performance campaign. Other tips on search strategy, I wanted to tell you to use bid strategy portfolios. So you can find those under tools, budgets and bidding, and then go to bid strategies. And then you can set up a new bid strategy here. And what I would do for your search non-brand is just group your non-brand campaigns together into one portfolio. A portfolio is kind of like a folder for putting multiple campaigns together, and then it allows you to apply a bid strategy across all those campaigns. So you can create a target ROAS folder or portfolio, add multiple campaigns into that folder, and then they share conversion data. So this is actually super useful for giving the algorithm more conversions in one place. More conversions in one place means the algorithm has more data to optimize with, which means it makes smarter decisions for you, which helps you grow your account. So any campaign within your search setup that has the same goal, if it's got the same ROAS goal, then just keep it within one portfolio grouped together to group its conversion data. And that's what you can do here under bid strategies. Okay, let's go back to the campaigns. So the other thing I wanted to say is use target ROAS, try and get up to 30 to 50 conversions per 30-day time frame, and then switch to target ROAS. Before your 30 to 50 conversions, you can use something like maximize conversion value. And then, yeah, do the seed mining method. So what does this mean? This means constantly scouring your search terms report and using that for actionable data to improve your campaign. So I showed you just now how you can go into the search terms report for your dynamic search ads campaign, but you can do that for your main search campaigns as well. So in your search keyword campaigns, go into insights, find your search terms data, and then about once a week, you want to be reviewing this list. And if anything looks good in there, like perhaps your phrase match keywords were triggering some other terms that were good quality, you want to add those into your campaign as exact match, or if they're irrelevant, you want to add them in as negative match, right? So do be reviewing this and adding in good keywords as exact match, taking out bad keywords as negative match. And if you do that over time, you will see your results steadily improve as you keep working at that. So that's what I mean by seed mining method. Hey guys, before I dive into the next Google Ads strategy, I just wanted to let you know about my Google Ads agency, Big Flare. If you'd like to see results in your Google Ads account like this, and this, then click the link in the description below and set up a time to talk with me. On the call, we'll review your Google Ads challenges together, and if I think my team and I can help you dominate Google Ads, then you'll get an action plan and a proposal. My team and I have generated over $150 million in revenue from Google Ads and have over 50 years of combined experience. So if you need help scaling your business with Google Ads, then don't hesitate to reach out by the link in the description below. All right, let's get back to the meat and potatoes of today's video. All right, let's have a look at our display campaigns now. Again, I'm just filtering for the US. What you would see if I unfiltered this is you just see the same campaign setup for each of the countries we operate in. So do segment your campaigns by country if you are running multiple countries. And what we have is just a single display campaign, which is retargeting only. As I say, cold traffic display, super difficult to get to work for e-commerce. It doesn't work in a lot of cases, but retargeting just works. Retargeting is great. And what I also see a lot of e-commerce advertisers doing is not breaking out their own display retargeting campaign. Perhaps they just think, Performance Max will do that for me. But if you do break out display into its own campaign, you can generally get much better performance. You can see here, we're getting a 10x return on ad spend, 1,000% return on ad spend in our display retargeting. And that's aided by the fact we broke it out into its own campaign where we can control the budget and bid strategy, and we can optimize the creative in a more granular fashion because it's broken out into its own campaign. So if you go into the campaign here, what you'd be able to see in our ad groups is we're running an ad group structure, something like this. So we'll break out the site as if the site were a funnel, and then each ad group is a different stage in the site funnel. So typically people might go to the home page, they might browse to a category page, then to a product page, and you've got cart people, like they've been to the cart but maybe abandoned it, and then we've got an ad group for previous purchasers. And then what we also do is, so these are our ad groups here, and then what we also do is for each audience or ad group, we exclude anything that's sort of, I should say, lower down the funnel. So for homepage, we would exclude category, product, cart, and previous purchases. So we'd exclude everything sort of below it in the funnel so that we don't get audience overlap in our ad group. And then again, category page would exclude product page, cart abandoners, previous purchasers. Product page, we'd exclude cart abandoners, previous purchases, and then cart abandoners, you exclude previous purchasers, and then previous purchasers, you can have a previous purchasers campaign assuming that you do get repeat purchases, which we do in this particular client account. So we set up a dedicated ads group to retarget previous purchasers and try and upsell them on additional items. So that's the overall ad group strategy. And then in terms of creative, what I wanted to say here is attach a feed. Definitely attach a feed. So within your campaign settings, you'll get this option here within campaign settings to add a data feed, and you just definitely want to do that for e-commerce retargeting. The data feed enables personalized ads, which means the system will then show the exact products people have been browsing on your site within the ad creative. That's all enabled by the data feed. So for the creative, make sure you're attaching your feed. And then actually a lot of the ad creative is going to be driven by your feed rather than the assets that you add. But do still add plenty of decent assets in here. And also what you want to do with your assets is, again, like I mentioned for Performance Max, just be rotating them regularly, looking for always either good performance or best performance. So I'll show you that again. You want to go into your ads, you want to click view asset details, you want to check this report regularly. And if you ever see anything with a low performance, then you want to kind of rotate it out and try and get a headline or image that gets good or best performance. So what you'll notice here is that most everything is either good or best. We've got a couple of lows in here, which means those are due for rotating. So yeah, do keep your assets rotated, look for good or best performance, and do attach a feed. Super important, guys. In terms of bid strategy, what I would recommend with your retargeting campaign is either target ROAS or maximize conversions. And if you are running a low conversion volume in your campaign, then run maximize conversions. And when you're running maximize conversions, you generally can control the ROAS through the daily budget, right? So if you look at your campaign and you see, you want to make sure you're using a nice long date range when you're doing this kind of management. But if you look at like the past 90 days in your retargeting campaign and you see, oh, my ROAS is a little bit low, it's like 300 and I'd really like it to be above 500. And assuming you're running a maximize conversions bid strategy, then what you do is you edit your daily budget. And remember that your daily budget, when you're running maximize conversions or maximize conversion value, your daily budget works in the opposite direction to your ROAS. So if you want your ROAS to go up, you reduce the daily budget. If you want the ROAS to go down, but get more spend, then you increase the daily budget. So that's how you kind of manage things there. There is also the option to run target ROAS. And running target ROAS for display campaigns is sometimes a bit tricky because display campaigns tend to get slightly lower conversion volume. But what you can do actually, if you want to run target ROAS in display, is you can just add it into the same bid strategy portfolio that you have your search non-brand campaigns in, and then display will be working to an overall target ROAS, and then the portfolio will have one target ROAS for all your search non-brand and your display retargeting. And then when you're setting the return on ad spend target for that portfolio, you just need to remember that you're doing a blended target, right? When you're doing a blended target for search non-brand plus display retargeting, you generally want to target a slightly higher return on ad spend target if that's what your setup is. So a couple of options for you there for the bid strategy. And now let's dive into video, which I've got over here. So video, we are actually going after cold traffic. So with video, we've got cold and retargeting separated out into separate campaigns. So this is just the cold traffic campaigns. We've got retargeting campaigns set up as its own dedicated campaign. Similar structure to what we did with display retargeting, but the main difference is now we're using video creative instead of image creative. And then for cold traffic video, some points to note here. One thing that we're doing is we have a creator partnerships campaign. So that's this one here, getting about a 500% return on ad spend. Overall videos getting a slightly lower return on ad spend of 435. And that's kind of to be expected. So one thing you need to know about cold traffic video ads is it's very top of funnel, and when you're going more top of funnel, you should expect a lower return on ad spend target. So I like to think of it kind of like this. You've got the marketing funnel here, IDA funnel, awareness, interest, decision, action. So Google ads, like your search and shopping ads, tend to be a bit more lower funnel, which means you target less people. There's a smaller audience to target, but because it's closer to the bottom of the funnel, you get a higher conversion rate, and that's why you see a stronger return on ad spend. For things like Facebook ads and YouTube ads, it's much more top of funnel. There's a lot more people to target if you can get it right, but because it's top of funnel, because it's further away from the action point, you're going to expect a lower conversion rate, and you should expect a lower return on ad spend. So a lot of the times, like top of funnel traffic might be running just above break even, or sometimes even at break even, but that's because there's a lot of value in these awareness ads. Like, this is bringing fresh people into your funnel. Those people often then convert on other channels later down the line, such as direct, SEO, or Google Ads branded campaign. And yeah, that's just worth noting with cold traffic video is if you want to go after cold traffic video, you have to be able to stomach a lower return on ad spend than, say, your shopping and search ads. So we're kind of testing out video here. We're testing out creator partnerships, small spends, just started testing this. Creator partnerships are, this is a bit of blurb from Google about creator partnerships. So it's powered by what's called Brand Connect, and what this allows you to do is connect with creators on YouTube who are already making videos about your product, and then run those videos as ads and track the performance of those ads in your campaign. So super useful if you have a product that's already being reviewed by a bunch of creators on YouTube Shorts. Then you can connect up that creative and run it as YouTube ads, and you can connect your product feed as well. So this is kind of an example of what it looks like. Demand gen campaigns, it runs in YouTube Shorts. You connect your product feed, and then you get product feed ads at the bottom there as well. So something we're testing out right now for this particular client, going pretty well so far. Lower ad spend though, because we're still testing creative. And then what we've got for the remainder of our cold traffic campaigns is a split between testing campaigns and then a winner campaign. So we've got testing campaigns where we test out specific video creatives, specific audiences, test them out in their own dedicated testing campaigns, and then when you've got a winner, break that out into a winner campaign that runs only your best creative, only your best audiences, and then that's the campaign where you can try and start to scale the budgets and get a better return on ad spend. So yeah, these are top of funnel ads, already covered that, so you've got to be okay with a lower overall return on ad spend. That's most of what I wanted to cover today in terms of the overall campaign strategy. A couple of things regarding the client, something that they do that helps us run really profitable Google ads for them, something that you should be looking to do in your e-commerce business if you're not already. So these guys, they started out in New Zealand, but they quickly expanded to ship and advertise in the USA, the UK, Australia. So we're targeting all the major English-speaking countries, so that's what's allowed us to scale the campaign more. And then just dominate your category, launch new products. So another great thing about this particular client is that they're testing new products. They don't see themselves as just stuck with the products they have. They see themselves as, okay, this is our category. How can we dominate this category? How can we constantly launch and test new products that might do even better than our current hero products? So it's really good teamwork. Because they're doing that, we're able to continuously scale and improve their Google ads. Highly recommend you guys be always looking at your products as well, and expanding to new countries if you haven't done so already. I hope you've gotten some good value out of this video. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you'd like some more step-by-step style help on setting up Google ads properly for e-commerce, check out this video up here where I run through an exact tutorial on how to set up your Google ads for e-commerce success and sky-high return on ad spend. In that video, I break down in more detail what campaigns to run depending on your exact stage of business. I show you how to optimize your shopping ads for success. I walk you through proper bid management strategies and so much more. I hope to see you on the next one, guys. See ya.